Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Yes! Yes! Nice. Hey, in the morning, everyone. It's Kevin from Real Boring Flips, and we're back in Gig Harbor, up in the apartment, and I just got back from, had a pickup for an item I bought online at an online estate sale, and then on my way back, I stopped at the Value Village, so I had to cross the bridge to Tacoma. So while I was over there, I figured I'd hit up a couple of thrift shops and got some excellent stuff at Value Village to show you. But first, let's talk about the item I bought online. So this was an online company that I deal with quite a bit, and I don't exactly know how they operate, but they do their distribution or pickups at a storage unit. So it's set up like a store. You basically go collect your item that was purchased. And in this case, I bought a Hewlett-Packard. This one is a 8562A spectrum analyzer. Now I paid out the door for that. I paid $116.15 as is, no sign of working, didn't test it, no power cord included. Now, if you'll see on the screen, the reason I bought this, and I actually would have paid much more, these go for incredible amounts of money, even as parts. Every one that I saw that had sold in this kind of condition, with it's not busted up or anything, was at least $400 parts. So $400 to $500 for parts only, non-functioning. So this is already an excellent purchase. If it's working at all, that value just goes up. So these obviously would have to be serviced to be fully functional for someone to actually use them for this purpose. But after buying this room at an estate sale a couple years ago, and it was loaded with equipment like this, and I'll show you, I'll put up a couple of screenshots of some of the stuff that I sold out of that estate sale. And if you remember, I think I've talked about this, I paid $1,200 for everything I bought, including when I bought that room, and filled up my car twice, filled up my truck completely, and have sold thousands and thousands of dollars out of that house so far, and still have lots to go. So I always keep an eye out for stuff like this. Any Hewlett-Packard test equipment like this is always worth looking for. Not everything is going to be worth it. Like, they did have an oscilloscope, a Hewlett-Packard oscilloscope, and it really wasn't bringing that much money. The one they had listed, and if I can get a photo of that one, I'll put it up too. I think I bombed out of the bidding at about $45. It was selling for about $100, but it also had the both manuals, and I typically sell those manuals separately. And it also had several probes, but I think only one Hewlett-Packard probe, and those probes go for crazy amounts of money too. So any kind of test equipment is definitely worth looking for. So we're going to try, I've got a power cord in it. I'm going to plug the power cord in, and we're going to hit the on switch and just see what happens. It'll be exciting for both of us, hopefully. So before I do that, because I want to be ready for it, I'm going to take a second to show you what I'm enjoying today. This is a Bai Molokai coconut drink. Now we're going out tonight, so I got to go easy on my refreshments for the video, but these Bais are pretty good if you've never had one. I especially like the coconut flavors. Now they do have some sugar, so I don't drink these all the time, but definitely worth it. Yes. Okay, now I'm ready. So I'll go ahead and plug this in. One second. Okay, I'm back. So I've had a couple interruptions while I've been filming up here. So I bought an on-air light. I'll show you a picture of that too. But what's nice about it is I have a remote control. The problem is it also controls my lights that are in here. So as soon as I turn the light on, I've got to return my overhead light back on. So, okay, now I'm ready. So we're gonna go ahead and fire this up. I've got it plugged in. It's plugged into the back here. I haven't done this, so this is the first time for me. And I believe this is the power switch, should be. So these have fans, so you might be able to hear the fan. And they should also have like a boot up process. So I'm hearing some sounds, but nothing on the display yet. So they would also take a little bit of time to come up, the display to come up. So we'll just let it run for a second. I'm not going to do this too long. So there's definitely something on the screen, but I don't have really any way to test this yet other than turning it on. So at least it did see something. Oh, there we go. There we go. Excellent. It's pulling up something. It does have a little bit of an electrical smell to it, so that might not be a good thing, but we'll at least let it run for a little bit and see what happens. So we'll come back in just a second. Okay, we're back. I did turn this off. I let it run for a little while. I'm able to run it and do a bunch of different settings. I think the smell is just, it probably hasn't been run for a while. So I at least have some photos of it running. So when I do list it, I'll be able to show it in at least somewhat functioning. I'll still sell it as parts just because I'm not able to fully test it. But for my $116 or so investment, I think we'll do pretty well on this, and it looks like they sell pretty quickly. So that's a good one. But I do want to give you some value for value, give you something back for your time watching this video. So we'll go through the stuff that I got at Value Village on my way back from Lakewood, where I picked this up. So it was interesting when I got into the store, and I don't typically film inside stores just because they're kind of weird about that out here. I don't see other people filming, and there was a lot of people in the store today. So I spent a little bit of time walking around in this particular store. Now, Value Village is kind of like a Savers, I think is the same outfit. When I've been in other states in Savers, the layout's the same, the pricing's the same. So I think it's the same company. But there was a lot of resellers in there. And so I didn't get a cart. I just walked back towards where the electronics are. And there was a lot of people there. I could see a lot of people with carts full of stuff, walking around with their phones, scanning stuff, whatnot. The typical what you see with resellers in thrift stores. And so I was kind of peeking around, and I found a Wii. So I thought, well, that might be worth getting. It was $29. It was in a bag. It was the Wii, the power cord, no controllers, nothing else, just the cables. I think it had the sensor bar, but $29. Now, I have a lot of Wiis that are ready to sell, or I have just tons of, I kind of, wherever I come across that stuff, if I get them cheap, I get them, and then I'll put together a set. So I passed on that, but when I went around the other side, I could see behind that Wii was another bag, and so I'll show you the bag. Ow. Staple got me. So this was $25, and now this is a Wii U. And so it's got the pad, the unit, all the cords are in here, the connector cords, the sensor bar. Now I don't obviously know if it's even working, but and Value Village, you've got to buy it as is. You don't get, if you can test something. They don't really like you opening bags to test stuff, but I figured for $25, it was probably a safe purchase. So I was happy to get that. I did see one of the resellers looking at the Wii. I don't know if he grabbed that or not, but just wasn't worth it to me. So from there, I went around the edge of the store, and they have a small wall where they have bagged electronics. So I started looking through that stuff. I thought maybe there's some Wii stuff on the wall, maybe they control some other controllers or something. And so the first thing I found was And I was really almost hesitant to buy this. This is an Xbox One controller for 15 bucks. It looks in really nice shape, and I have a bunch of Xbox Ones that I don't necessarily have good controllers for. But this one had the headset adapter on it, and I think the headset adapters sell for about 10 bucks. So I figured 15 bucks for both, and it has the battery pack here. So I figured 15 bucks for both was a good purchase for what I need it for. And then I found this. I do really well with film, point and shoot film cameras, but I was on the fence about this one as well. It's a Chinon 35F-MA, and the comps are, I mean, I paid 15. I might get 15, but I also might get 50. So based on what you could see on the comps, it looks in pretty good shape. Because it's bagged, they don't really want you opening them, but in general, it looked in pretty good shape. So this would have been the first thing I put back if I was going to put something back. While I was looking for that, I noticed in the comps that these had telephoto lenses that you could add on. So I went back to the bag rack and searched through the bag rack looking for maybe a bag of telephoto lenses for that camera. I didn't find that, but I did find this telephoto lens, and I paid $10 for it. It's a Nikon 30-110, and these go, I should have no problem getting at least 65 or 70, and a lot of them were 100 plus shipping. So, and again, this looks in pretty good shape. So I'll obviously pull it out, do some visual testing, maybe even some light testing. So this last item that I want to show you, this is what's very important about knowing what you're looking at. And weirdly, like my Goodwill, they don't do this. They don't bring out a cart and just let people ravage through it. But in Value Village, they'll bring a cart out with stuff on it and just leave it there for a while. And I noticed after I got the Wii U and I saw the Wii sitting there, I went around towards the cookware. I was going to look for maybe some, I usually get good stuff there, vintage cookware like toasters, other kinds of things like that. So I went that way and found a cart over there, but it had electronics on it. And it had a Sega Genesis, the like second version, but just by itself for 20 bucks. I passed on that. So I've got my Sega Genesis that you saw in my grading Goodwill video. And they had an original Xbox just by itself bare. I think was $25. So passed on that, but I did see this GameCube. And now you're probably thinking the same thing I thought. 20 bucks, that's probably what this is worth if it's not working. And it was bare by itself, 20 bucks. And so I picked it up, and I did comp just to see how much these are selling for parts, and that's about what they're selling for. It's not even in the greatest shape. It's got a little weirdness on this side here. And when I opened it, I wanted to see, well, maybe there was a game in there. There was no game in there. And then I closed it, and it wouldn't stay closed because the latch is a little finicky. But what I did notice, and this is always important to pay attention to, is was there anything down below on this thing? And you can see there is something down below here. And this is the GameCube broadband adapter. It's DOL-015. You'll see the amazing comps for these. Used anywhere from $100 to $200 plus shipping in used condition. 200 was pretty high. I think that was maybe an outlier, but still should have no problem getting $100 to $130 for this, just this part. Now, I have in the past bought GameCubes like this at my Goodwill, my local Goodwill, and one of them had the Game Boy adapter on the bottom. The disc for that is the important part that you hardly ever find. It's really worth a lot of money, but I still was able to sell that Game Boy adapter for pretty good money, well more than I actually paid for the whole thing. But I'll be able to test this. I do have a working GameCube. If you remember on my wall over at the desk, I keep basically consoles, cords, adapters, software for every type of video game console that I can get my hands on. And I keep that stuff just so I can test stuff like this. I'll want to be able to test this, and if it's working, I'll pull the adapter off, sell that separately. But I can then sell this just by itself. I don't think I have enough cords and cables and controllers to make a set out of this, but if I do, I could also do that. Maybe even put a game together with it. But this, I still think it's an excellent purchase for $20 because I know I'll get at least 100 just for that bottom piece, and for sure get about 20 for this if it's not working. So that was really an excellent, oh, I also got this just for myself because I just can't get enough of playing Galaga. Yeah. I paid $5 for this, but the disc is in good shape, and so I'll be able to play that. Hopefully test that on the Wii U. It's a Wii game, but you know how those work. Okay, we're set up. I've got the GameCube, got the game pad control connector. I've got my knockoff third-party power adapter that I bought just so I can test these things. I've got the knockoff audio video cable. It's always nice to have that kind of stuff. You don't need the name brand just for your testing station. I do have a game in here which is Fight Night Round 2, and again I have to click that. If you notice, the button just doesn't come back, so I might have to tweak that. And then as I mentioned before, wherever my remote went. So this is the TV I use for my testing station. So I'm on video 2 for this connection, but what's great about this TV is all these are connections that I do have access to. So I have multiple lines coming in and out, and I can run those to different places for testing. So it's one nice thing about having an old TV for that purpose. So we're good. We're on video 2. And let's see. Let's go ahead and power this up. Oh, I do have the network cable. Now, I don't know how that broadband adapter works, if it only works for certain games or what, but I've got that cable run up to my switch at my test station. So another nice thing about having a nice test station where you got access to all kinds of things like internet, broadband, or at least a connection switch. So let's go ahead and do it. Okay, light coming up, sounds coming up, things on screen. Excellent. Okay, Fight Night Round 2. So all in all, an excellent day. I'm glad I was able to get this item, which forced me down across the bridge to Lakewood and allowed me to stop back by at the Value Village and pick up some excellent buys. So thank you guys again for joining me today. Thank you for liking and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you like this video, please like and give me a comment on any of the stuff or anything you do want to see. I want to try to make sure my videos are giving you back the value that I'm getting from you watching them. So appreciate you guys, and as always, join me again next time.
Now who said dreams don't come true? It's like I'm dreaming when I come through. I always find something to run through. Speaking to the mic, mama.